everyone. Welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Marshpecker.
We are back with our review of Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Now, here's the interesting thing about this review. Fuego didn't get to watch it in time to take part. He's off screen over there pouting.
Walk outside.
You can walk outside now. But Marcia had never seen it either, but she actually watched the producer's cut because that was the only version I hadn't seen yet. I still had to watch it, so I was like, why don't you come early, we'll watch the producer's cut. So Marcia watched that, and I watched the theatrical cut, so I'll fill her in on the differences. But it actually wasn't that different except for a couple small things and then the ending, so it'll be an easy sort of catch-up. But overall thoughts, as usual, we're going to start with, and my overall thoughts are, I think this might be my favorite mask.
Really?
My favorite Michael Myers mask.
Yeah.
I think it looked the best. I think it looked the creepiest since the very first one.
Right.
But I liked it way better than 4 and 5. I thought Rob Zombie's, the patch together was too Bride of Chucky. So I do really like the look of the new one based on the trailers, though. So this one, though, is high up there. I really, really like the Curse of Michael Myers mask.
Yeah.
So this one is the third part of the Thorn Trilogy in the Halloween series. This addresses the mark that they put on his wrist in the parts 4 and 5. Although actually you didn't even see it in 4. It didn't even surface until 5, although it's technically considered part of the trilogy.
Well, because of Jamie.
Exactly. And this does indeed complete the Jamie Lloyd storyline.
Yes.
But it is wildly different. There was a big reveal in this producer's cut that was not in the theatrical cut.
Okay.
That we'll get to.
All right.
A familial bond that they did not choose to exploit in the theatrical cut.
Okay.
So anyway, we're gonna, like I said, do our overall thoughts. And as I said, outside of just the mask, I enjoyed this Michael Myers as well.
Okay.
I thought he was intimidating. I thought he moved well. I hated the way Dick Warlock, even though we've had him on the channel, I did not like the way he moved in Halloween 2. He was too slow. And I thought 4 and 5 were just okay, but I thought 6 was a very menacing Michael Myers. The storyline was very lackluster, although I do like Paul Rudd a lot, and he did show up. So they took some liberties with the Halloween story that I was not a fan of. They added a couple of actors that I was a fan of. It was a bit of a mixed bag for me. Yeah. What about you?
I thought it was pretty slow and boring, to be honest.
Okay.
I thought Michael was good.
Yeah.
The whole expansion, because
the Thorn cult.
The Thorn cult, and then they had to dip into the Strode family on the other branch of the tree, which kind of a little much. And then
the abusive father.
Yeah, it was a total 360 from the first one.
Well, because these are considered the relatives of Laurie's, or this is Laurie's adopted family.
Right.
That we didn't see
it's
in
the
Halloween
uncle,
1.
It's the uncle of it's the brother of the adopted father.
Right.
So, and they inherited, I know it's a little story, but they inherited
the Myers house.
The Myers house and also the real estate company and everything, and he's trying to run it, and he's kind of a dick. And it took us a minute to kind of put the family
pieces together. Yeah.
Because
they're not explicit about it.
Wait, okay,
they just say Strode a few times, and you're like, wait, what?
Okay. Number one, how is Jamie related? Okay, got that. Now we got these other family.
Yeah, but now what is this new mom and Danny, who's apparently tied into the situation as well?
Because they're living in the Myers house.
And because they are Strodes.
And they're Strodes, and
so now apparently Michael cares about his
Danny's
adopted
because
family as well.
The way they talked about it was because they're living in the Myers house, and Michael feels like it's his house, that makes him his family.
Well, not only that, but the producer's cut has the familial tie that does tie it all together. So the reason he's after Jamie in parts 4 and 5 is because she is technically Jamie's daughter, right?
Laurie's
daughter, right? Jamie Lee's daughter, Laurie Strode's daughter. So if you noticed in the producer's cut, spoilers, guys, for the producer's cut, if you don't know this, but this is where it's revealed that the kid in this movie that is being protected is Michael's kid. He slept with Jamie.
Right.
And that is the kid. That's
Right.
not in the theatrical cut.
Oh, really?
No.
Huh.
That's not in the theatrical cut at all.
And
See, I'm going to be telling Marcia what the differences as we go along. So
Yeah.
imagine in the theatrical cut, that's never revealed.
So you have no
why?
idea.
It's just that
Well,
she is a Strode. The baby is a Strode, technically.
Well, no, he's
A Lloyd.
a Meyer.
Well, but it's not revealed that in that part's
Because
not revealed in the
Jamie-
theatrical cut
well,
because
'cause
Jamie's
Jamie
a Lloyd though.
But she is a Lloyd,
But she was
is
technically
Laurie's
daughter.
daughter.
Right.
Laurie
so the
was
baby
a Meyer.
Exactly.
Jamie was her baby.
Right, correct. You're right.
So
you're right.
her offspring would be
a Myers as
a
well.
Myers,
but
it would be his
that's
great
the illusion
uncle.
in the theatrical cut. It's not
Yeah.
explicit, but so technically it's a Myers in both cuts. This is the
I
confusion.
feel like they live in the South, but they're not in Illinois. I feel like
Yeah, right?
their tree's going like this. Maybe that's
So-
why Rob Zombie made them into white trash.
Probably. I mean, the subtext was there. So, all right. Now, let's talk about the story.
Yeah.
Now, in this one, we start off with Jamie being wheeled down a corridor, pregnant, and about to have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know that it's Jamie right off the bat, but she's basically having the baby delivered by the Thorn cult.
Right.
But the main nurse, feels bad about it and brings the baby back to Jamie and says, "Run." And Jamie leaves and with the baby, and the nurse is killed by Michael Myers. So apparently Michael Myers is the muscle of the Thorn cult now.
Right.
But that's what they reveal. Like, eventually, okay, we'll get there. But so Jamie escapes with the baby, tricks Michael, and hides the baby at a bus station.
Yep.
And then goes and gets, in the producer's cut, gets gravely wounded by Jamie. In your cut, she gets, gravely wounded by Michael. In your cut, she gets stabbed and
Right.
falls on the ground, but survives at this point, and only later gets killed.
Right.
In the theatrical cut, he puts her on, he lifts her up and impales her on this giant piece of farm equipment that he
Ah.
then turns on, and it saws her up.
That's much better.
Yeah, well, it is, and she dies on the spot rather than dying later.
And doesn't tell
Doesn't
you'll never get the baby.
Well, no, she does say it. He impales
Oh.
her, she says it, and then he turns it on and kills her with the...
Oh, that would have been better.
It was. It
Yeah.
was. This was very lackluster.
Maybe that's why I felt this movie was boring.
Well, because and I'm telling you, the end is so much more boring than the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
There was practically no confrontation in the one that you watched.
Right.
Literally, there was
Yeah,
no
none.
confrontation. So it's a big difference. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But so from this point on, Paul Rudd plays Tommy Doyle,
Right.
who was the very
one.
first movie. He was the little boy that Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie, was babysitting.
Right.
That ran out, and Loomis finds him and his friend that were both being babysat by Laurie. So he is the grown-up version. He is completely messed up from his experience.
Obsessed with Michael.
Obsessed with Michael, obsessed with the family next door because he lives next to the Myers house, which is
Right.
where the Strode adoptive family lives.
Right. And he's
And-
basically waiting for Michael to show
Right, he's
up.
waiting for Michael to show up, and then he hears the radio transmission that Jamie calls in on at the bus stop. So basically, he goes and he finds the baby that Jamie has hidden from Michael, and then he has to protect the baby. While what was an interesting setup that I don't know if you caught at the beginning, that Haddonfield has outlawed Halloween for a number of years.
Okay.
And this festival that the college throws, that the radio guy is at, that's the first celebration of Halloween Haddonfield has had
Okay.
since Michael's
For
last.
6 years.
Right.
Right.
Because they've basically said, every time Halloween comes around, a bunch of people die, so we're not going to do Halloween anymore.
Right.
This is the first year that they have attempted to bring it back in this. And of course, when they attempt to bring it back, Michael shows back up, which they basically explain with the Mark of Thorn.
Right.
So, and it's funny, you even mentioned there's a scene in which Loomis arrives at a crime scene that Michael has perpetrated, and he sees a giant thorn symbol burned into the barn, and he's like, that's his mark.
Right,
And Marcia's
and-
like, that's never been his mark
Right.
before.
No, his mark was dead people.
Yeah, that's
Stabs.
weird. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. They tried to really crowbar it in this one,
Yeah.
that he was The mark of the thorn was something, and in the producer's cut, the ending with Loomis getting the mark was not even in there.
Oh, wow.
As soon as they drive away, they don't show Loomis again. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to hang around, and then you just hear him screaming. You assume that Michael kills him.
Oh.
That's a big difference. So it was a tremendously different last act. That's for sure.
I just don't understand why they felt it necessary to. I guess
Well,
they're
this is
trying
the producer's cut.
Right?
that
No,
we watched.
I know, but like, the Thorn thing was throughout the
Thorn
original,
thing was,
right?
but I'll tell you, the Thorn thing. You know how the kid kept hearing the voice.
Right.
Kill for He only heard the voice the very first time when he saw the dude in the theatrical cut. Every other time, they didn't do the voice. He just like wandered over to the house, and when he held the knife to the stepdad, there was no voice. Like, it was a big difference. They added the voice in all those times, and it made more sense.
Right, because then it's like they're trying to like forgive Mike. They're trying to forgive Michael for everything he's done by saying that he's being controlled by this cult.
Yeah, he was the child that was cursed with this when he was a kid.
And it's like they're trying to explain why he's supernatural, like after the fact, and they're like, okay, well, we're just gonna finish it up by saying like he's not really psycho. There is an evil within him that's causing him to do this. And once everybody dies, then he'll die, and then it goes to the next family, and then and that's where Danny came in because they were trying to get him to be the next one. But I don't know.
It fell flat. It fell flat.
I like knowing like because I didn't watch 6. I went straight from 5 to like H2O to Resurrection.
Which those reviews are coming.
Yes. Can't wait.
Next week we're going to record those.
I love those movies.
I know, this is your favorite slasher series, right?
Yeah, it is. Because
are you questioning that now on the rewatch?
I'm not.
You still think? Do you on the rewatch? Do you still think these are more entertaining than all the Freddy movies or all the Alien movies or like? Think about it honestly. On the rewatch, they're not great.
But these are slashers, so it's not. I mean, when you.
What about the Friday the 13th and stuff like that? Like.
I still think if you take.
Because Michael's not funny anymore. He hasn't been funny since the first one.
Okay, so I would say if you take the first Halloween and pair it to the first Friday the 13th, I still would go with Michael.
Well, okay. Yeah, because that's Michael. The first Friday the 13th wasn't Jason.
Not Friday the 13th, I'm sorry. Nightmare on Elm Street is what I'm going for.
Well, no, I would take Freddy over Michael.
I know you would, but I really...
That's interesting in comparison. Who... Like a very specific comparison. Halloween 1 versus Nightmare on Elm Street 1, which is better?
It's because I haven't seen Jason. I don't even know if I've watched all of the Jasons, to be honest. I think I watched the later Jasons and not the first Jason. So the very first Jason, I don't think I've actually watched it. So I can't compare that. And we've just watched the Nightmare on Elm Street recently. So yeah, we watched it with Freddie.
Oh, we watched the first one, yeah.
Yeah, so when
That's right, we do have that review done. Okay.
Yeah, cool. So if you look to those movies side by side, like, I love Freddy too, but I really like Michael, and I really like how the movie was put together, and I like how it just really laid the foundation for the genre and the slashers and the final girls and just like the intense of it. And
but you were disappointed with this one.
The 6?
The 6.
Yeah, I was not a fan of the 6.
Okay.
And maybe I skipped over it.
So the last big difference is the end. So in this one, the thing is resolved by Tommy Doyle drawing the mark of thorn in blood on the ground and like hitting it, and like not unlike Supernatural when they're doing the runes and stuff, and he tells Michael to stop, and Michael just stops and is like frozen there and can't do anything. And then the dude in black comes over to him and is like, "What's going on? Why aren't you doing it?" And then you see Michael's hand close. And then when you come back, you see Michael is laid out on the ground. And, well, that's the interesting thing. Okay, so here's the big difference. So Michael is frozen. Michael is frozen, and Paul Rudd and the girl and the baby get away. Right? And Donald Pleasance says, "No, I'm going to stay here." In the theatrical cut, that's it. Donald Pleasance says he's going to stay, but prior to that, Tommy Doyle has a confrontation where he literally takes a big lead pipe and hits Michael repeatedly in the face and beats him down, and then he stabs him in the neck with like a bunch of syringes filled with green fluid. So green fluid starts to bubble out of Michael's eyes and stuff.
Okay.
And then he beats him down with a lead pipe and literally like beats him to the ground.
Yeah.
And Michael doesn't move anymore, and then he walks away, and then they get in the car, and you see that scene where Loomis is, and Loomis says, "I'm going to stay behind." They're like, "Okay," and they drive off, and then it just cuts to an exterior of the place, and you hear Loomis screaming, and then it cuts back inside, and you just see Michael's mask laying there. And that's it. And his body is gone.
Okay.
That was the big difference. So in the producer's cut that Marcia saw, Loomis goes back in and finds that the old man that was the man in black, that was the supposed friend of Loomis through the whole movie, he is actually the one splayed out on the ground in the Michael Myers mask. Loomis pulls up the mask, and it's this guy, and then it cuts to Myers leaving in the man in black's suit. He's got the man in black's hat and the man in black's like long black trench coat, and he like looks, and he's still in shadow, but you see a real face outline, and now you see that Michael has escaped, and Donald Pleasance gets his arm grabbed by the old man, and then he's suddenly got the mark of Thorn on him. That wasn't in the theatrical cut either, so we just heard Loomis's
and nothing
cry.
ever came of that because it doesn't talk about.
No, and Loomis,
It
he
doesn't talk
dies.
about the
The
baby
actual
that
actor,
gets
Donald
away.
Pleasance, dies, so it never comes back.
You never hear about the baby that got away. You never hear about Thorn again. And
Well, it's because H2O was a reboot. That
Oh,
H2O went back to the Halloween 2. It ignored 4 through 6.
okay.
So they've rebooted the timeline a number of times in
Right.
Halloween, and people just don't think about it. But yeah, H2O is a direct sequel to 2.
Okay.
It ignores 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Oh.
And
I
Resurrection
guess I
does
never put
continue
that
H2O.
together.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the weird thing. People are complaining that they're
But
rebooting the series.
Jamie didn't exist.
Jamie didn't exist in H2O.
So that's okay because we were talking about that earlier.
We were, and I didn't
because-
want to mention. I thought I saved it for
okay.
the review. Yeah.
I was all like, I don't understand.
I didn't want to explain it to Marcia off
How
camera.
come Jamie Lee Curtis never talked about
And
the
then
baby
she's like, and
that
where
she
did
killed?"
Josh Hartnett come from?
Yeah.
No, because, so in H2O, they ignored the Jamie Lloyd. She never had Jamie. She instead had a son.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
hid him from Michael by changing her name and becoming the
See, I
headmistress
like the
of this
idea
group.
of that, like, oh, she had Jamie,
Mm-hmm.
ditched her, and then went into hiding, ended up getting Josh. And then she's all like, well, I'll keep this one because it's a boy. And
Jesus.
I know. So fucked
Well,
up.
we'll
But that's what was going in my head. Was like, okay, maybe she was young.
We'll get
so
to
let's-
H2O. We're
yeah.
not at H2O yet. So next week
Anyway,
we're going to be
yeah.
recording our reviews for H2O and Resurrection. That'll finish out our Halloween coverage. Actually, then I'm planning on doing a Halloween ranking video. I don't know
Okay.
if you'd want to get in on that or not.
Sure, yeah.
So we'll rank the movies.
Yeah.
You, me, and Fuego. We can rank them all.
Okay.
That'll be fun. People like ranking videos. Ours will just go super long since there's 3 people ranking them. But that's going to do it for our discussion on Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, both the producer's cut and the regular theatrical cut. Now you guys know the difference. Now I know the differences. And it was interesting, but I definitely prefer the theatrical cut. I will say that.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know in the comments down below. What did you guys think of the theatrical cut versus the producer's cut? Which do you think is superior? Do you like this movie at all? Where does it rank in the Halloween franchise for you? Again, I actually like it better than 4 and 5 because of Michael Myers and The Mask. I thought he was a better and more entertaining Michael.
Yeah. It
So,
got back to the roots, I thought, when it
it
came
did.
to Michael. I just can't get over the cult part of it.
No,
I
the cult was
think
stupid.
I think they're just trying to explain too much. Like you don't
They're
need
trying to explain why he was immortal.
Right.
And it
I'm like,
wasn't.
you don't
They
need
went
to.
way too far doing
I
it.
don't think you need to.
Yeah. So let us know in the comments down below what you guys thought. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm March Parker.
And remember,
Stay
stay
scared.
scared. And click the link to our Patreon in the description box.